What comes to your mind when you think about transit? Is it this?
Let's just test its structural integrity by continuing to drive this heavy bus over it, shall we?
Or is it this? What the fuck am I even looking at? Today we're talking about Transit, which is arguably by far one of the most controversial maps in Zombies history. Some people call it one of the worst Zombies maps ever made, and other people look back at it with nothing but nostalgia. And honestly, I don't even think either side is even wrong, to be honest. Because Transit is a map filled with some genuinely terrible decisions, but I also think it does have some unique ideas that were way ahead of its time. Like, I think everybody knows how notorious Transit is at this point. But when Treyarch was making Black Ops 2, they clearly had some sort of vision for where they wanted to take the future of zombies. Like, no matter what people want to say about this map, at least Transit did take risks, even if it was too ambitious for the time. It was severely held back by hardware limitations at the time, which caused Treyarch to have to pretty much redesign the map completely from how it originally was supposed to be. Because at the time of Black Ops 2's release, the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were already aging pieces of hardware at that point, and trying to have a map of this scale run on the 360 and PS3 just wasn't going to happen. So, in order to make this map work, they basically had to make some weird design choices in order to keep the player from seeing shit from loading in every 5 seconds. So today, I wanted to talk about Transit and why this map is universally one of the worst designed maps in Zombies history. Now, I did also want to say that before I start, that Transit is definitely not the worst map of all time, and there are definitely some unique qualities about Transit. And one of those unique qualities is the bus. The bus is basically the most important feature of this entire map, but it also is your method of transportation around the map as well, because the map is so big and expansive, and you need a way to get through the fog anyway. It'll basically meet you at the start of the match at Bus Depot, where you'll be introduced to Ted, who is the bus driver, and he basically controls the bus pretty much. I like Ted. He's a pretty good character, mostly because he can be pretty funny at times, but other times he could be a big asshole if you piss him off too much.
Oh, why did I fire off all my bullets?
The bus has 5 stops it can take you, each of which is a point of interest around the map. You have the bus depot, of course, which is where you start. You have the diner, which the mystery box and speed cola are always going to spawn in this location. And then you have the farm, where double tap is. But then the farm also hides another little map-specific feature, being the weapon fridge. It's basically like a glorified weapons locker where you can put a gun in it, except for wonder weapons, and if you come back to it in another match, you will have that gun ready for you and you can use it in the match. I'm pretty sure it'll even still be pack-a-punched as well. All of the other Victus maps have this feature as well, which is pretty nice. You also have the power station, which is obviously where you turn on the power, but power is a bit unique in this map, as you actually have to look for a few parts in order to build the power switch this time around. I don't mind this mechanic, as the parts are not that hard to find, and there's only 3 of them, and they're all in the same exact location, so building power is not that difficult whatsoever. You also have Tombstone here, as well as a jet gun part. You have a gun you can grab off the wall, and the mystery box can spawn here as well. And then you have the town, which is basically the main center point of the entire map. Town is iconic because when people think about Black Ops 2 Zombies, they literally think about this map. You also have Pack-a-Punch located here as well, which, let's talk about that, because this is one of the things I absolutely hate about Transit. Now, one rule for making a great zombies map, in my opinion, is that Pack-a-Punch should be the #1 easiest thing to get in the map. Transit is literally the first map that started the whole trend of zombies maps having long and tedious quests just to get to Pack-a-Punch. Like, you have to put your turbine down at the power station, run all the way to the town, and hope to God that the zombies did not break the shit out of your turbine. And once you get there, then you can go downstairs only to build the Pack-a-Punch. And if you get there and they did break your turbine, well, now you gotta go all the way to Bus Depot to grab another turbine, go all the way back to the power station, and repeat the process all over again. And this is honestly one of the reasons why people dislike Transit so much. Like, I get they were trying to do something different and unique with the Pack-a-Punch process, but it is just not fun, in my opinion, trying to get Pack-a-Punch on this map. Like I said, Pack-a-Punch should be the #1 easiest thing to do in the map, and Transit is literally the complete opposite of that. This Pack-a-Punch quest is absolutely horribly designed. Speaking of horribly designed, let's talk about the wonder weapon on this map. Now, unlike Liberty Falls, where the jet gun is pretty much one of the best wonder weapons in BO6, I cannot say the same for the jet gun in Transit. Now, don't get me wrong, this wonder weapon does look awesome, and the whole concept of you being able to, like, basically suck up the zombies is pretty cool as well. But the problem with the jet gun is that not only is it basically useless as it breaks after 2 seconds of use, but it's also not worth building anyway, as you have to really go out of your way to find the parts for this. Now, a couple of these spawn locations for the parts are okay. Like, you have this one in the tunnel, which isn't too bad. You also have this location in the power area. There's also another part where you have to look for this little secret shack in the fog, and I honestly don't think this one is too bad either, but it is pretty out of the way, and you probably are honestly not even going to find this thing unless you're looking at a guide or just exploring the fog for whatever reason. But then you have one that's located all the way into the middle of the cornfield. You got to go all the way to Nocturne Totem just to grab the piece, and that's literally all that's here. You got to run all the way back through the cornfield again, all the way through the fog, just to get to the town to put the piece on the bench. This is, in my opinion, the most tedious wonder weapon quest in all of zombies, and it gives you the worst wonder weapon of literally all time. Like, seriously, this wonder weapon quest and this wonder weapon has to be a joke. You also just can't hold multiple parts at once, meaning you have to go out of your way to grab a part, run all the way back to the town just to go grab another part and run all the way back to the town again. And considering how much effort can go into getting it, watching your wonder weapon explode literally after 2 seconds of use is actually one of the most infuriating things of all time. The jet gun is absolute garbage and is by far definitely the worst wonder weapon in all of COD Zombies, in my opinion. I also wanted to talk about the fog and the lava because it seems like this is something that a lot of people also hate about this map. Now, as far as the lava goes, I actually don't find it to be that annoying of a mechanic. That, and I really think the lava actually makes sense for the atmosphere of what they're going for this map. I think it also keeps players on their feet and makes players actually think about where they have to train and stuff like that. I don't mind the lava. It's a cool mechanic. Same thing with Kawakajo. I also like the lava in that too, so it's not that bad. But then you have the fog. And while just like the lava, I honestly don't think it's that annoying of a mechanic, and I actually think it fits the atmosphere that this map is going for really well. It also does a really good job of making this map feel scary, as when you walk through the fog, you literally cannot see anything in front of you, that it's kind of creepy in a way. Most of the issues issues I have with the fog stem from the fact that the fog was literally added into this game to be able to slow the player down so they can't see stuff loading in front of them when they're walking through the map. And that's where we get to one of the biggest design issues of this map, in my opinion, is not only the fact that they added the fog literally to make it purposefully so you can't see anything load in front of you, but you also have denizens that will chase after you in the fog, and these guys are obnoxious little shit. Like, as soon as you enter the foggy areas, these guys infinitely keep spawning and they will not stop chasing after you until you get out of the fog. Now, granted, there is a little side Easter egg that you can do with the denizens where if you bring it over to this lamppost over here and have it jump underneath it, it'll basically create a portal that you can jump through, but that's really all they're useful for. But other than that, literally the whole point of these guys is literally just to slow the player down. Like, these guys are so annoying. You also have the Avogadro on this map, and this enemy is actually pretty unique because this enemy literally doesn't spawn in unless you have the power turned on. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Avogadro is actually a pretty good enemy, and I think he's actually pretty damn funny sometimes. Because not only is he stupidly easy to kill if you have the Galvan Knuckles, but this guy will also literally chase you on the bus, and he will literally chase the bus until you get to the next location. He can also disable the bus, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's actually kind of useful for if you don't want the bus to move from a specific location, you can just have the Avogadro disable it for a little bit. His death animation is also some of the goofiest shit I've ever seen, and I absolutely love it. One big feature that Tranzit did introduce that would basically be a staple feature in every single Zombies game going forward is buildable. The idea of being able to find parts around the map to be able to construct equipment and stuff like that with it is honestly a fantastic idea, and it also gives the player something else to do in the map if they know their way around and everything like that. The first buildable you have is the turbine, which I would argue is the most important equipment in the entire map, and 95.9% of the time you are going to be holding this equipment just because of how important it is to the map. You also literally need it to get Pack-a-Punch, so there's absolutely no point in using any other equipment besides the turbine until you get Pack-a-Punch at least. And then you have power and Pack-a-Punch, which I already talked about, but one buildable that was introduced in this map that would be a staple of most of the games going forward is the zombie shield, which I think is honestly a fantastic addition and added an extra layer of protection against the zombies besides just grabbing Juggernaut. You can also place it down to use it as like a barrier from the zombies as well. There's like an electric trap that you can build as well. Like, in my opinion, buildables are actually great and they make the maps more interactive, in my opinion. The only issue I inherently have with buildables in this map is the fact that for some reason in most of the Black Ops 2 maps, you can only hold one part at a time for some reason, which results in you having to go back and forth between grabbing a part and going to the buildable bench, going back to grab another part and going back to the buildable bench again. You know what I mean? It's really tedious in my opinion, and I'm glad future games fix the whole issue of making it so you can actually hold multiple parts at once. And I do get that this was the first game that introduced buildables, so obviously there's going to be some design flaws, but in my opinion, this is a design flaw that makes Tranzit just not super fun, in my opinion. The execution definitely wasn't great, but I do have to give them props for at least innovating, because buildables became a huge staple of the Zombies experience for games to come after it. Tranzit has so many cool and unique ideas that we had never seen in Zombies up to that point. They were just, in my opinion, way too ambitious for the time period that this released. Like, I feel like if Tranzit had released as a Black Ops 3 launch map, I feel like this map would have been a banger, to be honest. You can also just tell that Transit was also a map that was built literally with having 4 players in mind, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, it also makes the solo experience kind of suck. I mean, hell, even Tombstone only works on co-op. If that doesn't tell you this map wasn't built with 4 players in mind, I don't know what does. People actually tend to hate on Tombstone, and I know this perk is a meme, but I actually think the concept of this perk is pretty good. I just think they put it on the wrong map. Like, I think this perk would make so much sense on a map like Buried or Die Rise or Mob of the Dead, where the map isn't super duper expansive and it takes you 20 minutes just to get across the map. Because if you die and your teammates are at another part of the map, good luck trying to get your tombstone back. I don't know. I honestly feel like people hate on this perk for no reason. And if it was on a different map, I feel like people just wouldn't hate this perk at all, to be honest, because the idea of it is actually really good. They also did add Double Tap 2 to this map, which isn't really a new perk per se, but they did make a big change to Double Tap in this game. So now, instead of it just increasing your fire rate and just wasting all your ammo, now it increases your fire rate, but it also does double the damage by shooting 2 bullets at once. Which, I'm not gonna lie, is a lot better than Double Tap 1, considering all that perk did was just literally steal your ammo, it feels like. Where this version of Double Tap actually feels like you're getting increased damage with it, which is good. I did also want to talk about the Easter egg on this map, because honestly, I don't think the main quest is the worst main quest in the world, but I also don't think it's one of the most fun either. Also, this Easter egg requires 4 players for some reason, meaning that if you literally don't have 4 players in the game that know what they're doing, you just cannot do this Easter egg whatsoever. And I know on PC you can play Plutonium in order to make it so you can do the Easter egg solo, but I'm mostly talking about the base experience of the way it was designed in the first place. And I get why they did it. They basically wanted everybody to work together as a team, but as a result, it kind of just shafts the solo experience a little bit. So basically, if you only play console and you don't have 4 friends that can hop on to help you do this Easter egg, you're most likely just not going to be able to do it whatsoever. Like, I'm honestly glad we got out of that stupid era where every single zombie's Easter egg required 4 players for some reason. Honestly though, it's not like you're really missing that much, because you don't really get much for completing this Easter egg anyway, except for like a blue glowing thing when you go to the main menu and stuff like that. You have 2 Easter eggs on this map. Basically, you have the Richtofen and the Max's side, which the Max's side of the Easter egg is not too bad, but it requires you to turn off the power for whatever reason. The Richtofen side definitely has a little bit more that you have to do, but there's some really weird steps, like you have to throw an EMP at a portal while you're teleporting, and it makes absolutely no sense. And like I said, you get almost nothing for completing this Easter egg, except for being able to complete the super Easter egg for this game. And like I said, with how hard it is to navigate around this map, and the fact that you need 4 players for this Easter egg just makes it not worth doing, in my opinion. I do think the whole concept, though, of lighting up the polarization tower is really awesome. I just wish there was a lot more substance to this Easter egg, in my opinion. And like I said, the fact that you can't even do it solo is kind of stupid to begin with. And then finally, you have the bank, which is honestly one of the most iconic parts of Transit, and not only is it available on this map, but you also have it on the other Victus maps as well. And the bank basically allows you to deposit and withdraw points whenever you want. And I'm pretty sure you can also deposit an infinite amount of points if you want as well, making this the most broken feature in the entire game. And not only that, but it also transfers to the other Victus maps as well, meaning you can get a shit ton of points on round 1 and by not having to really do anything. This, in my opinion, is one of the best features that Zombies has introduced, and I'm honestly don't understand why they didn't bring it back. Oh wait, great. But anyways, I would like to know what you guys think of Transit in the comments. Do you guys actually think it's one of the worst zombies maps of all time? Because personally, I think this map could have been great if it just wasn't on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. See ya.